Hello learners, my name is Simranjeet Singh and today we will start with the topic Introduction to R programming. So what we will cover in this particular session is the total introduction to R programming, the various syntaxes as well as simple loops and other functions that we will cover in this particular session. So what actually is a R programming language and how it is started? So firstly, R is a programming language specifically that is used for statistical computing, and it is one of the best programming language in open source programming after Python. So it is very close to Python, but it has its own advantages. The syntax and other things are very simple to understand, and it is somewhat difficult to learn in comparison to Python, but once you learn it, you will be able to use various tools and techniques to efficiently analyze the data and other processes. So with the starting of this, so we'll start with the introduction to R programming, and R programming is founded by Ross Haka and Robert Gentleman. So they are just they in the starting they used to use R for it's particularly popular for data miners, bioinformatics and statisticians for data analysis. So it was founded with the purpose that it should support those particular applications. But after that, because it's a open source community, so many of the R tools are supported by open source community, and for basically it was used for heavily used for data analysis with deep learning, machine learning algorithm, which is very easy to do. Something like clustering, classifications. These are some of the applications that is very efficient and we can use it. So it was designed by Ross Haka and Robert Gentleman. It is designed at the University of Auckland, New Zealand, and it is currently developed by R development core team. So all the functions that you see here, because it's a open source language, so it is definitely supported by the open source community and anybody can use it for free. So it's easy to download, easy to install, and you can just start doing programming on the go. So firstly we will introduce you to what actually is a R environment. So R environment means that where this particular R languages can be used. So actually if you see here, R programming language is open source, so it can be used with Mac OS, Windows as well as various Unix distributions. So you can simply go to the open source website and you can download this particular software. So there are two ways to download. Okay, so there are two ways to use this particular R environment. First and second way. First way I'll show you in the coming PPT in the coming session. So don't worry about that. So first is that R supports procedural as well as object oriented programming. So this is one of the most important point here. Procedural programming means that it has a particular set of procedures. It has procedure calls, modules, and everything is step by step, as well as it also supports the object oriented programming that we already seen in C++. So it already supports the concept of classes, objects, and simple polymorphism and inheritance. All the concepts are supported in R. Another thing is that it is kind of an interpreted language. So what it means is that R uses interpreter instead of a compiled language. So what do I mean by this is that what you see here is that interpreter is line by line compiling of the code. So if you write here, if you write anything, so it will be immediately compiled rather than you prepare a script for it and then the compiler compiles the whole program and then execute a error. So this is way easier in comparison to other programming languages like C, C++, you have to write the whole program and then you compile it and then the error comes. So in this way, R is better. So you simply write the program one line and you can simply detect if there is any kind of a error in it or not. So this particular step makes this R programming way less time consuming as compared to another languages, because if you write the code in a script format and then you compile it and then you will find the error and then you correct it and then you compile again. So in this way, so directly if you write the program in the interpreter and you press enter, it will directly tell you that if there is any syntactical or any other kind of error that is written in the line. So that is why this is much more efficient than to compile the whole language, okay, in this way. So moving on forward, so you can also you can also use the script part of R if you want it. So you can directly use the R as an environment, or you can use something called R Studio. Okay, so if you want to do directly use the interpreter of R, you can download this. Simply download it into the website. Simply write download R. So it will list out the first search result will give you the installation or the setup file for Windows. Okay, so I'm going forward with the Windows part. For Unix and Mac OS, there are other sources that is available on their website. So most of the users use Windows, that is why I'm installing the R environment on Windows. So if you see the screenshot here, so it is a simple. If you write a download R, so this will be the first result, and you can simply click on download R 4.2.2. so this is the latest version at this time, so download it. After that, you simply perform a setup wizard and you press next, and just see where the program file will be supported and where the files you want to store. You can browse, change that particular thing, and you can just directly, or you can just this can remain the default folder as well. Okay, so after that, pressing next, you can press the finish, and this is the screenshot of the completion of the R wizard. Okay, so this is it. If you want to directly use R, you can just simply go to the desktop and there will be a R icon appear, and you can simply use a R interpreter. As you can see in the screenshot, this is the R interpreter that is being displayed here. Okay, so you directly start writing code here, so it will directly show you the output. Okay, so another way, so this is one way to use R directly by downloading it and installing it, and this will be a simple installation. Okay, so if you want to go one step further, because there, if you see in this particular interface here, suppose if you want to store a value to a variable, so there is no particular variable explorer, what you say, pane here. So that will be a little bit difficult, and it will be difficult to see what are the values that are stored in a particular variable and many other variables. So if you are designing a longer program, so you for debugging you need these kinds of functionality. Okay, so for that purpose only, I'm just extending this particular installation to something called R Studio. Okay, so it's again open source and it is free of cost. There are other than that, there are paid versions as well, but for simple usage, installation of R Studio is free of cost. So you can simply write download R Studio, and then you can simply go to the first link that pops up and download it and then install it. Okay, simply the installation process is very simple. You just press next, and in the end dialog box you will find that it is installation. When the installation is complete, you press finish. After the installation, you will see another symbol on the desktop that pops up, that says RStudio. Okay. So first thing is that you can, if you are not able to find this particular symbol on the desktop, what you do is that you can simply press the Windows button and then start typing RStudio. Okay. So RStudio, first step to install RStudio, do not install RStudio first. Okay. So the installation of RStudio will be in such a way that the prerequisite of RStudio is that there should be a R environment present in the system. The first step I have shown you, the R interpreter that is shown there. So firstly you install that and then you install the RStudio and then you will go on forward with the steps. Now when the RStudio is installed, it will only work. So this particular RStudio will only work if you have installed R environment first. Okay. So this is very important. Now if you see here in the screenshot of this RStudio, you can easily see that there is the first part here. You can see that this is the script part. Okay. So if you want to write a code like C or C++, you can write by going into the file and you can insert a new script and then you can write the code here. And when you want to compile, you just select the part you want to compile and you press run at the right hand side of upper corner. So what you do, you just simply press run. It will run the code at the bottom part. If you see here, this is the interpreter that is being shown previously. It's the same interpreter, but now it will show you the output of the script which you are running at that time. Another is that if you see at the right hand side, there are environment, history, connections and other things. Okay. So in this environment, what you will see here is that if you have taken a variable and stored a value in that variable, so that particular value, what is the value of that particular variable at a particular instance will be shown in that environment. So this is the one of the biggest advantage if you are compiling a code. If you want to find the error, this is way much easier than to type the script one by one. So it is advantage. If you want to compile or if you want to troubleshoot, you can simply run one line of a code as well. So if you see here the run function or the run button that is shown on RStudio, you can simply select a number of lines and then press run, or you can simply select one line and then you can press run. So it will behave like a interpreter as well as it can behave like a compiler as well. So that is the advantage of using a RStudio. It is much more cleaner and your code will be easier to see, easier to debug, easier to build it. So that is why RStudio is one of the most frequently used studio or what you say IDE in context to R programming language. So moving on forward, so why we use R? So this is one of the major question that is being asked. Why not Python? Why not C++? So there are specific advantages of R in context to these languages, but there are some disadvantages of these of R as compared to another languages. But if you see here, what are the advantages and disadvantages that comes with you? If you want R for a particular purpose, it will be very efficient. If you want R for another purpose, it may not be very efficient, but you can use it in any other way. Okay. So first of all, R, if you see here, is the largest database of models for use in academic study. So basically, if you firstly, it is open source. So it is open source under the JNU Journal Public License, and it can be downloaded without cost. So first advantage is that you can just simply download it, install it, and start working on it. So first advantage. Now another is that because it is supported by open source community, so with the little effort you can build very complex models. Okay, so if you see here, the models are built in such a way, the models are already built by the community and they are providing you the platform to use it with a little bit of syntax that you need to understand. Another thing is that specifically R has very high quality graphs. Okay, so if you are taking data and if you are if you are taking the data in Excel and drawing the graphs there, that is fine. But if you take the data of any particular observation and take it in a CSV file and then you import it into the R, and there are a number of graphs, and R can easily interpret the data in its own way, and you can draw very high quality graphs that are not possible in Excel and other softwares. Now moving on forward, what are the merits and demerits? I'll also discuss because we're starting R. So you have to know this, what are the merits of R. So when it comes to statistical softwares, like if you want to do probability, if you want to do PDF, probability density functions and other things, so R functionality is out of the box. So it offers so much functionality that is not being offered by any other software. Another thing is that merits is, if you can think of it like that, it's a open source free software and you can use R. It's not very storage heavy. You can just directly download it and install it, and you can run it on the way. So another way is that if there are packages that are being available, so you directly go to the tools and install packages, and you simply write the name of the package and it can simply install that package. Now what is a package? Suppose you want to input a Excel file. So what you do? So you simply there will be no inbuilt function that can do that. So for that, already a XLSX package is already there. So you just have to go to the tools and then you type the name of the package and then it will start installing, and then you simply just use very simple you simply use the syntax of that particular library and you can input a Excel file. So another thing is that our programming is cross platform. So it can be used on Windows, it can be used on Linux, it can be used on Mac. Any other operating system R supports it, and because it's a cross platform, so it can be used in any other computer system. So one of the major merits is that every time the libraries are upgrades, there are upgrades to the libraries. So if there is any kind of a bug that exists in a particular package, so that particular package will be updated by the open source community, and that update will be provided in the R software as well. So again, it's a community that do this kind of stuff, that they support new packages, that they support bug fixes, and that they support also the code upgrades to R, and it's again continuing growing community. Demerits are that because it's an interpretive language, that you have to write one line and then you have to press the run button and then you see if there is an error or not. But due to this, it takes a lot of time. Okay, so you can think of it like that, because if you write a script, it will be executing in one go if there is no error. But if you do not write a script and you write the line one by one, so it will take a lot of time. So in that way, the debugging of R because as an interpretive language is easy, but it is very, very slow if you think of it like that, if you want to do a particular program very, very quickly. Another thing is that the memory efficient of R is not very good. So it is again a limitation. So like another C or C++ languages support a efficient data structure, it is not in the case of R. Another thing is that because it's R language, it's a little bit difficult. You have to understand the syntax and semantic of every other packages. So it becomes a little bit difficult to learn each and every syntax. So that is why it is the graph is quite steep. The learning graph is quite steep, to be frank. But if you get to know R, you will appreciate the language. Moving on forward now, we will discuss about the different R data types. So the frequently used R data types that is being frequently used are logical, numeric, integer, complex and characters. So I will discuss these particular data types one by one with examples as well. So logical is simply, you can say it is true or false. Simply you can just say it is true or false because it is based on logic. So you can simply say if a particular thing is true, it will directly output true. If a particular input is false, it can directly output false. So logical data types are available in R and they can either be true or false. Often a logical value is derived by a comparison of two or more variables. So if you see here, the example is simply true and false. And if you see here, this is a example how logical operators work. So if you see here, W is a variable. In this variable, you are storing a value true. Now you do not have to explicitly declare that variable before assigning a value to it. So in another languages, you can simply write equal to do that, equal to sign. Here you can also use that, equal to sign is also fine, but this is another way to assign a value to a variable by writing true, by writing a sign that is shown in the screen. Now if you see here, the true value is assigned to a W variable, and then you can simply, if you want to know that what is the data type of W, you can simply write print class W. So it will print the class of W which is logical. So in this similar way you can do it for every other data type as well. So in the next one is, you can see numeric data type. So numeric data type, every decimal value you can see can be referred to as numeric. So the example can be 7, 10, 8, 9 or any floating point number also, like 16.3, 15.43. It also comes in the part of your numeric. So what you do is you simply assign, like you can assign a decimal point value to W and you can simply print the class of W. It will again, OP means output, it will again output numeric because it is the value that is being assigned. So moving on forward, another data type that is being again explicitly used is integer. So integer data type are also supported in R and they can represent an entire number set. Okay, so you can also take any other decimal number as well, or you can convert that decimal number into a integer by using a simple function called as a dot integer, or in the brackets you can use whatever you want to convert. So suppose a W variable has a value of decimal, then you can simply write as integer W. So it can be used to convert any number, any different data type to a integer data type. So simply you can also add L, the capital L at the end of the number or at the end of any integer, at the end of a decimal value, to say that this is a integer. So for example, you can see here we have assigned W equal to, or we are assigning 2L to W and we are printing the class of W which is a integer. Moving on forward is a complex data structure. So here complex means that there are imaginary number and real part. So complex numbers are divided into two parts. It's a combination of two parts. First is your real number and another is your imaginary number. So imaginary number will be supported by I, real number will be simply like an integer. So if you see in the example here, W has assigned the value of 7 plus 3i. If you check the class of it, it will again be, it will output, OP means output here, output complex. Okay, so these are all the codes that are being run, that are given to the R, and the output is written in OP. So keep that in mind. Another is character, or you can say string also. So simply you can write any character or string by doing a double quotes around it. So if you see here, W is assigned a value of true, true, or you can assign the W value as good as well, and you can simply print the class of it. The output will be character. So whatever you write in the character, you can use double quotes as well as single quotes can also be used, so that there will be no error. So you can use it as shown in the example, like A is in single quote, good is in double quotes, true is in double quotes, and 17.4 is in single quotes. So you can use both of the notations that are fine, they can be used. Keep that in mind that whenever you are using the numbers like 17 in a codes, it will be character, not numeric. So whenever you try to, suppose there are A has assigned a value of 17 and B has assigned a value of 18. So you are taking another variable C and you are adding these two variables. So it can become an error because these are in codes, they are not numbers, they are characters. So the output will be different, that it can concatenate it, but it will not add 17 plus 18. So keep that in mind. So this is what we have studied so far. So this is the summary of it. So we have seen all these classes. Another class that I have not discussed is raw. So raw class is another data type. So you can simply say that R is stored as 48, 65, 6C, 6C and 6F. So if you see here, if you can convert any particular character to something data type called raw data type. So what you do, you just take that particular character like hello that is taken in the example, and you can just simply write a function called char to raw. So it will convert this into another class, that is a raw data class. So again, if you print the class of it, it will be shown as raw. So what actually is a raw data type is that you can store these particular raw data types like they are stored in a assembly or machine or low level language. So that is why hello is stored as 48, 65, 6, C6, C6F, that it is stored as a hexadecimal number. So moving on forward, so we have seen till now all the data types of R. We've seen basic classes and how to input it, and we have seen the installation of R, and you can install R as an interpreter, or you can install R as a studio as well. So studio means that you can write a script and you can see the output. So in the next session, we will study about another data structures, loops and other functions. Okay, thank you.